trainings. And, a few years later, I'm here with, the studio that I've got here in Sarasota, and we've been trugging along, and, we do also floor training. So the majority of what I do, for my living is I teach, whether that's flying trapeze and circus, or those are the life skills I'm teaching in the yoga studio, but I'm training the next generation, not just performers, but also those next generation of teachers.
I think it's so wonderful. I was looking at your website before our conversation, and I was just so impressed by everything you have on there. And I personally have never tried aerial yoga, but I very much would like to after the pandemic is pretty much over. So are you currently having, I know Florida is open to an extent. Are you having classes? Have you been offering virtual classes? How are you reacting to what's going on?
It's been a real challenge. I went from, thinking that this thing wasn't coming here to 2 days later closing down the studio. I was very fortunate in that I've been extremely adaptive and been able to pivot multiple times during this crisis, but we closed down on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, we launched our virtual yoga studio. So immediately we started doing 2 classes a day online. We were able to monetize that and keep the studio afloat, not just through the classes, but we also offer virtual trainings. So we began training our yoga teacher training, and we did that online, and we've had an incredible response, and it's been something that we've been able to pivot and do the virtual, and Florida has reopened, so we've been doing in-person classes for the last few weeks. And since we're kind of in that in between where we're not completely ready to be all the way open and people are not completely ready to be all the way quarantined either, we've actually been live streaming our in-studio yoga classes at least once a day, if not twice a day. And we're about to launch an OTT channel, which is called Over the Top. It's similar to the way that Netflix or Roku or Disney Plus gets out to the world.
Mm-hmm.
We're launching basically a yoga channel that's going to utilize that technology to get our classes out there.
That's great. That is really wonderful that you were able to do that. So, so that's the regular yoga. The aerial yoga, you pretty much have to be in studio, I'm assuming, because where else can you hang your flying hammock?
Well, a lot of people do. They put them in their house. Not everybody, of course, but a good amount of people have their hammock at home, and they can dial into the class and be able to enjoy that from home. But as much as the live stream has been amazing to be able to stay connected with everybody, there's no replacement from being able to be one-on-one and in studio with our students.
That's what I would think as well. That just all of it sounds really, really great. So are you going to continue doing the virtual classes and things, do you think, when everything sort of almost gets back to normal, or is it something that you're going to be done with?
No, it's something we will continue. I've actually been recording classes and doing something very similar for the last 5 years. I've been compiling basically a resource of classes. We have a $12 a month unlimited on-demand yoga classes that we offer. And so we'll continue to do live stream. I'm not sure if we'll do it as much as we're doing, but it's definitely going to be part of the future model. Like this crisis is going to change a few things at the end. And, there's that availability and that accessibility through virtual. So it's definitely going to kind of flavor things a little different as we go forward. Yeah,
I see that. So you had mentioned your children earlier that you are training them on the trapeze. Is there any other circus arts that you're teaching them?
Not right now. I do teach them some acrobatics. My passion is the flying trapeze. It's kind of like my biggest love and kind of almost obsession. But my daughter she did the Sailor Circus program this year. She performed in the winter show for her kind of debut performance. That was her first time, and She actually is training on the, she does skating, she does unicycle, and she performed on the Spanish Web in the winter. And then she was supposed to be performing for the spring show, and she was going to be the youngest performer at Sailor Circus on the high wire. So she's been training an act that I've never been on. So it's been really cool to be able to, of course, be her teacher, but to be able to watch her shine and just light up when she works with other people. And I see what I see in myself in her when I see how she loves it. She just, like maybe trapeze isn't her thing, but circus definitely is. And it's so cool to see someone light up like that, because that's still the way I am about it. And not everybody is that into it. It's sometimes just a job or sometimes just a thing. And it's bigger than that for me.
That's wonderful. That is truly heartwarming to hear that. So does she also do yoga?
A little bit. I'm at the studio a lot, so they don't get to go, it's a little bit harder thing, especially with them being younger. I have taken her to a few classes, and of course they see me doing yoga all the time, so they're familiar with the poses. And I'm sure that as they get a little bit older, especially coming into teenage years, it'll be something that we do more and more together, and that they'll, want to do more and more.
Yeah, that's wonderful as well. So going back to Sailor Circus, when you were a teenager for a second, are there any kids that you performed with when you were in Sailor Circus that you still keep in touch with?
Actually, I do. Most of the kids I don't keep up with, but my partner that we did several acts together, and we stayed friends through college. Courtney Wyatt, I'm still really good friends with her, and I keep in touch with her. And then the only other person that I kind of keep up with every once in a while, who was also in the program, Stefan Yukaitis. But for the most part, those people don't do circus. They're not involved in any way. And everybody's just kind of also most people don't live around here. There's a few people, but for the most part, people have kind of moved away. I have moved away. And then what really brought me back here was the circus, was, being able to train. There's a lot of, other circus people here, and then coach for flying trapeze at circus. He's been my coach for years, and that was really the deciding factor in coming back to Sarasota over anywhere else. Was I wanted to be here, and I wanted to be close to him.
That's really very cool. You don't hear things like that very often, so that is it's really interesting. So circus is obviously such a huge part of your life. Do you see anything else coming up in your future? I mean, I saw when I was doing your bio that you've traveled all over the country setting up the aerial yoga, which is very close to circus. But what do you see for your next few years?
Oh, it's a good question, because I went to Thailand in October, and I absolutely fell in love with the country, with the people, with the culture. I've been studying traditional Thai massage for about 9 years. And honestly, I want to move to Thailand. I want to open up something there. I want to move my life over into Asia. Obviously, that's probably not a 1 or 2 year plan. That's more like a 5 to 10 year plan. But I do want to. I want to travel more. I would like to perform as well, but sometimes when you try to push something so hard and it doesn't go, there's a reason. And this year I did try to push for contract and go out on the road. And then when this crisis happened, and all of my friends who were literally just really about 1.5 months into their contracts, everybody lost their jobs overnight. Everybody. I'm not talking about just, some. Everybody did. And they were on the road, and, so grateful that, I wasn't out on the road at this time. But it's something that, this is going to take a while to see where things go. And I would really like to take some contracts on the road with the circus. And I've got some things up my sleeve. So you never know. Like it really like you can't plan too far ahead with this stuff. Like I'm training every day. I'm at the top of my game as far as I've been for flying trapeze and my strength and my condition. So I'm ready at any moment when the opportunity comes to be able to go on the road, and it just hasn't been the right time. So I'm waiting and kind of seeing what the future holds.
Well, our time is up, but I have to say it's been so interesting speaking with you and hearing about your life and all that you've accomplished. So thank you so very much for speaking with me today. And I am going to plan on visiting your studio at some point because I'm just so interested in it. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nope. It's been really nice to just be able to talk about something that I'm passionate about. And if this, helps to bring somebody to circus or inspires them in some way, then, this is exactly what it's supposed to do.
All right. Well, thank you again so much. I look forward to running into you in the future. And I always end our podcast with, may all your days be circus days. Thanks so much, KERRY.